EDC Las Vegas is coming up fast. On October 22nd, the Hallmark Insomniac Festival returns to Vegas after the worldwide COVID pandemic forced its reclusion. I'm very excited to take part in the EDC experience after initially planning to go to EDC Las Vegas 2020. This will be my first Electric Daisy Carnival. In preparation for my journey, I started researching the artists playing at the festival and decided to turn it into a whole video. In this video, we will be covering EDC Las Vegas 2021's Friday lineup in alphabetical order A to Z. I will give a small biographical introduction to each artist, their style, and their hit songs. While I will be doing my best to stay objective, the point of this video is to be informational. I will note that, of course, my subjective taste in music will bleed into my commentary. Hopefully, I will be able to give you guys a snapshot of what each artist will be like and whether or not their set and style is to your liking. Preparing this video took a significant amount of effort, so if you found this helpful at all, I would greatly appreciate smashing that subscribe button. You can also check me out on Instagram or Twitter at handle BladeMasterRush. Be on the lookout for more lineup reviews, and of course, I'm planning to post vlogs and sets from EDC Las Vegas 2021 itself. If you're going to the concert as well, hit me up, let's connect. Leave a comment on this video, hit me up on my socials, again, Twitter, Instagram, BladeMasterRush, or otherwise navigate your way to my socials and drop a message. Before we get started, I just want to tell you how I will be categorizing the artists, and by all means, it is a subjective categorical grouping. I'll give insight into the artist's genre, as best as I can. Genres are, of course, a nebulous thing. And finally, I will give what insights I can as to whether or not I think the artist will put on a good set relative to their genre. For DMCA reasons, I won't be playing any of their songs, just mentioning them. I may put out another video of me reacting to or mixing a couple popular songs from each artist by genre to give you a better understanding of their sound. If I do so, that video will be linked in the description. Otherwise, Spotify is your friend. All right, let's get this going, and once again, make sure to subscribe. Alesso Renato Rodolfo Lindblad is a Swedish DJ and producer who is renowned worldwide for his fantastic sets, presentation, and style of music. His genre is loosely progressive house, and while he has numerous hit songs, some of his biggest are Let Me Go and Under Control. Chances are you probably already know Alesso if you're watching this video, so there's not much that needs to be said. He's easily one of the biggest artists playing on Friday. I'll have to wait to see his set time to decide whether or not to commit to Alesso. Since I'm more of a bass trap dubstep fan, I might opt for a different artist, but if you are a progressive house fan, then you are 100% going to want to be experiencing Alesso's set. Alison Wonderland is an Australian DJ, producer, and singer. She is what I would call a genreless artist, but if you were to pin her down on a couple, it would be trap, future, bass, and electropop. A couple of her hit songs include the timeless I Want You and Anything with Valentino Khan. But if you haven't heard of her before, I would definitely recommend browsing her discography on Spotify. I've seen Alison Wonderland live before, and I must say her set was absolutely phenomenal. If you're into any form of melodic trap or bass, then Alison Wonderland is going to be a set to take note of. Besides being a very good performer and fantastic producer, she's also known for being outspoken about mental health, sharing her own experiences at concerts. She has been getting pretty big over the years, and it's well warranted. I will definitely be choosing to see Alison Wonderland's set if there are no major conflicts with my must-see artists. The ATLiens are an up-and-coming anonymous masked duo with a heavy focus on bass and trap. Some of their hits include Contact and Tantra. Since this duo has chosen the Daft Punk route of branding, not much is known about them, and they communicate in interviews through their manager. That being said, their set is guaranteed to be an absolute headbanger. Their impressive discography is filled with hard-hitting bass and drops. They have a sound similar to Bass Nectar, Black Tiger Sex Machine, and Party Thieves, so if you're into bass music or are a fan of any of the above, I would consider looking more into ATLiens. While I've heard a couple of their songs and mixes before, researching them piqued my interest, and since I'm a bass/trap head, I will likely be at ATLiens set. Atmozfears is a Dutch hardstyle artist who has been playing the circuit since 2009. Their hit songs include Release and Das Boot. Previously a trio formed in 2009, they have since split up, and Atmozfears is represented by a single artist now. But this experienced hardstyle producer has surely been around the block. After listening to a couple of their songs, there's definitely a noticeable melodic infusion that sticks out from other hardstyle artists that may stick to a strictly heavy sound. If you're a fan of hardstyle, Atmozfears is likely a must-see. If you're curious about hardstyle and maybe enjoy trance or progressive house, you might want to take note of them and check them out if there are no other set conflicts. While I enjoy hardstyle, I probably won't be at Atmozfears set because he is one of the larger hardstyle artists, meaning there will probably be a set conflict with other headliners. Biscits Biscits is a rising house producer hailing from the UK whose hits include Talk to Me and his Heal Me remix. He is relatively new to the scene and probably a breakout artist. I wasn't able to find too much about him online besides a couple of interviews. That being said, he's already caught the ear of big names such as Diplo and Fisher. So if you're into house, then Biscits is a set to keep note of. Researching him caught my eye, so I will try to make it out to his set provided there are no other major conflicts. Bleu Clair is an Indonesian-born tech/bass house artist who has been finding his place with his distinct sound and stylistic stance. His hits include Hit List and Hypnotized, but his discography is diverse and definitely worth checking out. I would consider Bleu Clair a rising star in the scene who leans heavy into bass. He has collabed with Martin Garrix as well as received support from other big artists such as Valentino Khan, Dylan Francis, Joyride, and more. If you're preferential to the bass house genre, which I am, then Bleu Clair is probably a must-see. I'm pretty stoked for his set. Blondish is a house producer who brings some mellow vibes to her tracks. Her hits include Waves and Wizard of Love. Her discography spans nearly a decade, and she's an established DJ in the circuits, with a residency in Ibiza. Needless to say, her set is going to be good. She's also known for her eco-activism and promoting positive energy. After listening to a couple of her songs, she's definitely got a more melodic vibe, so if you are partial to indie music and house, then I would definitely check her out. I personally prefer more bass-heavy acts, so I probably won't be making it out to Blondish. Born Dirty is a West London house and techno act who first came onto the scene with their track Don't Stop, Get It, and has been making waves since. Their other hits include Samba Sujo and Get Up, Get Out. With influences spanning from hip-hop to techno, their eclectic background will bring to the table an exciting set. While they are on the lesser-known side in EDC Las Vegas's star-studded lineup, they have appeared on BBC Radio 1 and 1 Extra and have collabed with fantastic artists such as Anna Luneau. I'm predicting their set will have a similar sound to hers, maybe a little bit more hip-hop. I will likely be trying to make it out to Born Dirty since I anticipate they will be playing earlier. If you're into house or techno, this is an act to check out. The Chainsmokers are an American production duo that truly need no introduction. Trailblazing the scene since 2012, their discography floats from trap to future bass and electropop. They've been headlining festivals since they hit the scene running, with smash singles like Closer and Don't Let Me Down. Being one of the biggest names on the ticket, they are guaranteed to be playing in one of the final slots of the festival. Despite controversially edging into having more pop appeal, I will say that I've seen the Chainsmokers like 5 times, and they've always put on an amazing trap-heavy set. The last time was in 2017 at Moonrise Festival, for reference. I probably don't need to see the Chainsmokers for the 6th time, but we'll see what time slot they are playing. They're guaranteed to put on a good show that is tailored to their audience, regardless. You don't need to worry about their set being light on the bass. Ciaran McAuley is a trance producer/DJ, a former member of the renowned trance duo Walsh and McAuley. His hit songs include All I Want and Mochara. It goes without saying that if you are a fan of trance, you're going to want to be at McAuley's set. And even if you don't like trance that much, his production quality being so good, plus being an established and experienced DJ, means you should consider jotting him down. I'm partial to trance, and since I'm expecting him to play earlier on, I will probably be trying to make it out to Ciaran McAuley's set. Sid is a tech house producer and DJ hailing from Queens, New York, who has garnered attention from big names such as Cascade, Galantis, and Oliver Heldens, with his catchy house hits. Some of his most popular songs include a collab with Loud Luxury, Nights Like This, and an infectious collab with Cascade that you've probably heard, Sweet Memories. EDC Las Vegas's Friday lineup, at the very least, is packed with the top house producers in the scene today. Sid is no exception. Since I'm a fan of his hits and I've never seen him live, I'll probably try to be partaking in his set. If you like house/tech house, he is going to be a must-see. Claptone is a German house/tech house production duo who are widely recognizable by their Plague Doctor-inspired golden masks. Their discography features countless hits, but among the top include Heartbeat and No Eyes. With considerable experience under their belt, nearly a decade of producing and DJing, their set is guaranteed to be delectably groovy and a good time. He's another one of the bigger names in house playing Friday. It's a long star-studded list, to be fair. As usual, if you're a fan of house, then Claptone is a must-see. For me personally, I'll have to make sure he's not playing at the same time as the trap/bass headliners. Darksiderz and Mrotek are hardstyle artists playing a back-to-back set. They're one of the lesser-known artists, so unfortunately, I wasn't able to dig too much up about them. Mrotek's top songs on Spotify include Iron and Steel and Wrath, and Darksiderz seems to be the lesser-known of the pair, with no identifiable identifiable hits. This pair is nearly guaranteed to play early on, and after listening to their Spotify, I will say that they definitely have a dark, heavy sound. Their set will almost definitely be a hardstyle one, but Darksiderz will bring some alternative punk vibes to the table. Since I plan to get to the festival early, this is one set I will be on the lookout for. Delta Heavy and Lodestar are both UK drum and bass production duos. Delta Heavy's hits include White Flag and Kaleidoscope, and Lodestar's Lifeline and I Need the Night. Drum and bass is one of EDM's iconic genres with a lifespan dating back decades. People have been going to drum and bass raves for as long as the modern computer has been around. Delta Heavy and Lodestar's back-to-back will be one of the few drum and bass acts playing on Friday. So if you are a fan of drum and bass and want just a bit for your EDC Las Vegas Friday, then this might be the act to check out. The combination of these experienced duos will produce a rhythmic and melodic electronic set you won't want to miss. Dieselboy is an American drum and bass producer hailing from Florida. With over 2 decades of DJ experience, his hit songs include Angel Dust and Beyond Thunderdome VIP Edit. After listening to him on Spotify, his distinct sound bites into influences of atmospheric dark techno to produce eargasmic drum and bass. Something important to note is that Dieselboy appears to be an artist that is far more well known for and experienced in DJing, so my bet will be that his set will be amazing. Dieselboy is one of the other bigger drum and bass acts playing Friday. There aren't many, so again, if you're a fan of drum and bass, then Dieselboy is going to be an act to look out for. Dolla is an Australian house music producer who is notorious for producing hit songs and fields the subgenres of tech and future house. Friday's lineup is flooded with stellar house music acts, but I have to say that if there's any house artist that I'll be making an effort to see, it's Dolla. I vibe hella hard with his irrefutably catchy hits, and I'm willing to wager that he puts on a killer set. Unless he's playing at the same time as Ghastly, Shami, or Zoo, I'll be at Dolla. Dombresky is a French house producer who can be considered a rising star in the scene for the past couple years. With quite a few hits under his belt, he is most well known for his remix of A-Track's We All Fall Down, and another breakthrough hit, Soul Sacrifice, as well as collaborations with Chami. Dombresky has definitely been making the rounds since he broke out of the local French EDM scene, acquiring cosign and support from artists such as Diplo, DJ Snake, Anna Luno, and more. If house is your favorite EDM subgenre, then I would say that Dombresky is a must-see. Otherwise, I would still keep him in your sights and check him out if you don't have any set conflicts at the time he ends up playing. Since he is a relatively big artist, but not quite huge, he will probably be playing towards the middle or later on. I will definitely be at Dombresky as long as there are no conflicts with trap, bass, or dubstep acts. Don Diablo is a Dutch DJ and house producer widely known for his catchy hits and being a pioneer of the future house genre. With a career spanning decades and far more than just house music, his set is guaranteed to be fantastic. His recent hits include Bad and Problems. EDC Las Vegas definitely brings out the biggest house acts, and Don Diablo is towards the top of A-list house artists playing. If you're into any other future subgenres such as future bass or trap, then you might want to consider checking him out. Chances are I will not be at his set, but I love his music and house is great, so if things work out, I will be. Excision is a Canadian dubstep producer and DJ who easily tops Friday's list of renowned dubstep artists. Some of his hit songs include Feel Something and Your Fault. If you aren't familiar with Excision, he has a bit of a cult following in the dubstep scene due to his prolific and jaw-dropping sets. Even if you can't make it to Excision at EDC Las Vegas, I would strongly urge you to considering one of his shows sometime. I've seen Excision numerous times and he always puts on a fantastic set filled with wub-wubs, trap, and DNB influences. And most importantly, heavy drops. I will 100% be at Excision set, headbanging it out. If you like dubstep, then you probably will be too. If not, Excision might not be a set to look out for. Fatum is an American EDM production quartet with a remarkable trance discography. Their hits include Punisher, collab with Armin van Buuren, and Ken Show. They're a relatively new act who have been making splashes in the scene, and they're likely to make my list of underrated sets to check out for Friday. With cosign and support from A-list artists such as David Guetta, Armin van Buuren, Above and Beyond, and more, you're going to want to keep Fatum set time on your radar. If you're a fan of trance, then these guys are a must-see. I was impressed with the few songs that I listened to on Spotify and will likely be checking them out. Flosstradamus is an American DJ and musician, once comprising of a duo. They went their separate ways, with the separating artist donning the name Yeah Me Too. Floss is renowned for being one of the pioneers of the trap genre and having heavy hip-hop influence. Hit songs include the iconic Troy Boy collab Soundclash, star-studded single Came Up, and Too Much. I've seen Flosstradamus literally countless times, and he is one of my favorite trap artists. To this day, his sets are absolute bangers. I saw him a couple months ago at Webster Hall, and he's still putting on fantastic hard-hitting sets. For this reason, he is one of the bigger names for Friday and easily one of the biggest names for trap. I will definitely be at Floss's set. Frank Walker is a Canadian electronic music DJ who has been making waves since coming onto the scene in 2016. His infectious sound has produced numerous hits, but most prominently Light Gold and his remix of Not Okay. If you're privy to more pop-infused electronic, then Frank Walker is the act for you. It is hard to say when he will be playing, but due to his prominence, I doubt I will be able to make it out to his set in favor of another trap or dubstep artist. Hailing from Long Beach, California, Gio is an up-and-coming trap/bass artist who has received cosigns from the likes of Bear Grylls, Moxie, and more. With a music career starting at age 13, he has been headlining nightclubs in Southern California since the early age of 16. Some of his hits include Tetris and Cold War. His sound could definitely be described as trap with some influences from dubstep, D&B, and even happy hardcore. Gio is a smaller artist that I'm super stoked to see, and he easily makes my list of underrated artists playing on Friday. Since trap, bass, and dubstep top my list of preferences in electronic music, I will see Gio. Gigi Magree is an Australian EDM producer, DJ, and singer who leans heavily into trap. She has collabed with many big artists to release hits you've probably heard of, such as Frontlines with Zed's Dead and Nightmare, and Ghost with Jauz. Sporting eye-drying gold grills, she's definitely got the persona to fill her spot as a rising trap producer. While I'm not sure if she can be considered underrated in a traditional sense, I definitely think she would be a lesser-known artist to the average EDM fan that deserves more attention. After checking out her discography, her sound fits perfectly to my tastes. Ghastly is an LA-based dubstep/bass house EDM producer and DJ who's closely associated with Skrillex's Alsla. He's known for his hits We Might Fall, his remix of Lights Out, and a more recent release, The OG. We finally reached the artist that I'm hands down most excited to see. Ghastly perfectly blends my favorite elements of dubstep and bass house in his sets. Not only am I a big fan of his discography and his live sets, but he also sports a captivating persona on social media. While not as big as some of his peers playing yet, I think Ghastly is an up-and-comer in the scene, and would consider him a must-see for anyone who loves bass house or dubstep, and a strong consideration for those with an affinity for trap. It goes without saying that I'll be prioritizing Ghastly's set over anyone else's. HALIENE is an electropop singer-songwriter based in LA who is known for vocal collaborations with big names such as Armin van Buuren, Seven Lions, and Gareth Emery. Some of her melodic, entrancing hits include Rush Over Me and Long Way Home, which you've likely heard played in some Illenium-inspired mix. This is a live act, so I'm guessing she will be speaking to her strengths as a singer and be putting on the only live performance besides Sullivan King, who I think does some of his screaming live. If you're into trance, electropop, or any sort of future subgenre, then HALIENE's live set is for you. I would be surprised if she put on a performance that was anything less than stellar. After learning about her and instantly recognizing her voice on some of my favorite tracks, I would love to see her live set. Worra is a native Chicagoan, now LA-based house producer and DJ. Her sound is described as classic house meets new school tech. Making up one of the few women playing sets at EDC Las Vegas 2021 Friday, her groovy and captivating take on house has produced hits such as Some People Fall and Now You Know. If you're into house music that is more melodic and funky, then this is the act for you. Her only downside is being among a long list of fantastic house acts playing at EDC to choose from. I will be marking down her set as one to see. Jauz and Peekaboo will be playing a back-to-back set. Jauz is an American DJ and producer who has pioneered the EDM scene with hits spanning future bass, trap, bass house, and dubstep. I would consider him relatively genreless. Peekaboo is a rising American dubstep producer who will be accompanying him. Some of Jauz's hit songs are the timeless Feel the Volume and numerous popular remixes such as his Final Song and Trampoline remix. Some of Peekaboo's hits include Illusion and Here With Me. I will mostly talk about Jauz. One of my favorite electronic producers, he's also an amazing DJ. For bassheads, this back-to-back set will be one you won't want to miss. And the combination of the two artists' tastes means we will see a diverse and unique set, undeniably with hard-hitting drops. If you aren't a big fan of bass or dubstep, then this might not be the act for you. But if you are, then this definitely is the set to be at. John Summit is a Chicago-based house producer who is one of the two artists flexing under 18. At the apparent age of 16, he has already made a splash on the scene with his hit song, Deep End. I was shocked to learn how young John Summit is, and while his set is bound to be excellent and a must-see for house fans, an inexperienced DJ can go one of two ways, and I'd like to think he falls in the first category. Either he is the next Martin Garrix, incredibly talented in both producing music and curating sets, to the point where you're going to want to be able to say that you saw him before he got big. Or he simply hasn't had enough time spinning decks, so his set could go one of those two ways. Since he's such a rising star, I'm going to wager that he's going to play towards the middle. Tracid is a German trance DJ and producer whose name stems from the combination of the two electronic styles, trance and acid, Tracid. With a career dating back to the late 90s, he has worldwide recognition in the trance scene, with his breakthrough hits Your Own Reality, Liquid Skies, and more recently, DT64. Tracid is one of the few acts playing Friday to tout the acid genre, and his experience coupled with his sleek production is going to prompt trance fans to check out his set. I was impressed by listening to his sound on Spotify and intend to make it out to his trippy, euphoric show. Two of the biggest names in EDM, Kayzo and Knife Party, will be performing a back-to-back set, fusing together Kayzo's iconic trap, dubstep, and hardstyle sound with Knife Party's timeless dubstep and electro house. These artists are both such big names that this back-to-back set is likely the highest profile one playing Friday. Knife Party has been spearheading the Blur EDM scene with easily recognizable hits such as Bonfire and Internet Friends, whereas Kayzo has carved out his own space with hits like Last Resort and Suffocate. This is one of the sets that I'm most excited for since Kayzo is one of my favorite dubstep artists and Knife Party's live sets are so goddamn good. Dubstep is also my favorite genre. You're guaranteed to see the entirety of EDC Las Vegas's dubstep crowd at this show, myself included. Given the fact that this is probably one of the headliners playing later, if you're more partial to house or more mellow sounds, you'll probably opt for another set. Khromata is a female psytrance DJ with a decade of experience. She does not have a production discography, but her one song on Spotify is called Is This Your First Record? Based in the San Francisco Bay Area, she is an experienced DJ who has performed at countless festivals and major dream state events, even organizing her own psytrance events with the production crew Pulse SF since 2012. It's hard to pin down whether or not she will be playing earlier or towards the middle, given that she's an experienced DJ, but regardless, if you're a fan of trance, then Khromata is an artist to keep on your radar. Her lengthy experience as a DJ ensures that she will put on a trippy, entrancing show, and I will be making it out to her set. Lady Faith is considered by many the #1 female hardstyle DJ on the planet. If you're a hardstyle fan, then Lady Faith is definitely going to be a set you're going to want to go to. And even if you're not, it's always empowering to support the women making a difference in the electronic scene. As I've mentioned, while I enjoy hardstyle, it's not my go-to genre. That being said, reading about Lady Faith's experiences, accolades, and personality has persuaded me. Loco Dice is a European tech house producer, DJ, and Desolate label co-founder, whose North African and Middle Eastern folk music roots have influenced his unique style. His hits include Out of Reach and Detox, and his sound perfectly hits the nail on the head of tech house. With a DJ career spanning decades, residencies in top European hip-hop clubs, and a willingness to experiment with his sound, his show is guaranteed to be fantastic and unique. Despite his years of experience on the circuit, it seems he still might be a lesser-known face to the average house fan, making him a likely candidate for underrated artists playing Friday. If you're a fan of tech house, I would expect to see you at Loco Dice's set. Loud Luxury are a Canadian production and DJ duo, enjoying immense popularity as of late with their smash hit Body, and other hits such as Light Gold and Amnesia. Since debuting in 2017, this duo has been rising in the scene, putting on fantastic shows and accumulating massive viewership across streaming platforms. Their popularity suggests they will likely play towards the end of the festival. If you're partial to deep or future house, then this is going to be one of the headliners for you. While I enjoy their music style from time to time, I will probably opt for a headliner with more hard-hitting drops. Giobbi is an LA-based house producer, DJ, label owner, and entrepreneur who has been making waves with her catchy sound. Her hits include Carry Us and Move Your Body. A forward-thinking, multifaceted artist who describes herself as a feminist and the piano house queen, among other things. Her meteoric rise is well-deserved, and you can expect her set to be groovy with diverse influences. She founded the educational organization FemHouse, a platform created to address the lack of representation and equity in electronic music by empowering women to learn how to produce. Giobbi's impressive sound prompts me to put her on the list of underrated artists for Friday, but given she's been experiencing considerable and warranted attention for her work, I'm not sure if underrated is a fair label to place on her. Anyone with an inclination towards groovy EDM should make an effort to see her set, and house fans will be right at home with her infectious sound. Luke Andy is a San Diego-based house DJ and producer who has been making strides in the underground tech house scene. His techno-infused hits include Becky and Show You. Luke Andy is easily one of the lesser-known artists on the lineup for Friday, and I thoroughly enjoyed listening to his songs. I have a feeling that his set will be a must for tech house enthusiasts, and I'm looking forward to seeing it myself. He's probably one of the most fairly rated, underrated artists playing on Friday. Mad Dog is a drum and bass and hardstyle DJ and producer. He's not as well known as other artists on the lineup, and there are many other people claiming the name Mad Dog, so I wasn't able to learn about him. His hits include Take You Back Remix and We Who Are Impressed. Despite there not being much info about this hardstyle fanatic, after giving his music a listen on Spotify, I can tell you that he is through and through a hardstyle act with some drum and bass influences. If you're a fan of either D&B or hardstyle, then this is one of the smaller acts to keep in mind. Markus Schulz is a German-American DJ and producer based in Miami, Florida, with 3 decades of experience putting on trance shows. Some of his hits include Feel Alive and Ave Maria. Markus Schulz's experience is his greatest attribute for a festival like EDC Las Vegas. He will be a top pick for trance fans. Those who are trance inclined can rest assured that his 30 years of DJing prowess will guarantee an awe-inspiring set. There are many trance acts for me to choose from, and Markus Schulz is higher on the list of who I'm interested in seeing. Medusa is an Italian house production trio who have absolutely exploded onto the scene since becoming active in 2018. Their countless hits with literally billions of plays on Spotify include their breakthrough hit, Piece of Your Heart, Lose Control, and Paradise. While there are many A-list house acts playing, Medusa might be one of the biggest in terms of current popularity. I've looked at tickets for Medusa around New York City, and they're quite expensive, so I may consider going to their set just due to the fact that it will be the most cost-effective opportunity for me to do so. Michael Beebe is a London-based tech house producer and DJ who has been emerging from prominence in the underground scene. From what I can tell, he is strictly a tech house producer, and his hits include Got the Fire and Lemonade. Michael Beebe is one of those acts where his experience in the underground scene guarantees he will put on a good show. But if you aren't into tech house, then there are probably other acts playing at the same time that you'd rather see. I'll have to wait to see the set times before making a decision on Michael Beebe, because I don't care for tech house as much as I do other forms of house. That being said, he's a must-see for tech house. Midnight Tyrannosaurus is a Tampa-based dubstep producer and DJ with an affinity for defying genres. Some of his hits include a collab with Subtronics, Step Aside, and Jurassic. Being a huge fan of dubstep, Midnight Tyrannosaurus instantly stood out to me as an act to prioritize seeing. It's always refreshing to experience unique takes on the genre. If you aren't a fan of the Wub Wubs, Midnight Tyrannosaurus is an act to skip. But since I will definitely be making it to his set. Mob Tactics and Prolix are performing a back-to-back set. Both producers specialize in drum and bass, meaning you can expect to see a prolific D&B collab. Mob Tactics' biggest hit is his remix of Your Love, and Prolix has a few hits including Infinity and The Message. Both artists have seemed to carve out their own space in the D&B world, and after listening to their discography, I would assert that drum and bass fans are going to want to make this set a priority. I'm partial to drum and bass, so I will be trying to make it out to this epic back-to-back. More Kismet is a DJ and producer who is the second rising star performing at EDC Las Vegas Friday under the age of 18. The forward-thinking artist goes by they-them pronouns, and after learning that they were only 16, I absolutely was shocked, given the quality of the songs they have out. Hits to check out include Rumor and You Should Run. They definitely fall in the range of experimental electronic music. I'm very excited to check out their set, and despite their meteoric rise at a young age, I would argue they were probably one of the underrated artists playing Friday. Check them out. Morelia is a house producer and DJ. Being relatively new to the scene, I wasn't able to find too much about them besides becoming infatuated with their tech house tracks on Spotify. Some of their hits include Vibrate and their remix of Feel the Beat. Morelia is one of the smaller artists playing in EDC Las Vegas' star-studded lineup, so if you're looking for a house act to go to early on, then make sure to jot them down. Nightmare is an American DJ and electronic producer widely known for his style spanning trap, dubstep, future bass, and house. Some of his popular hits include Good Vibrations and his collab with A$AP Ferg, Red Light. I've seen Nightmare once before, and all I have to say is his diverse range of influences litter his sets with everything from dubstep to house. So even if you aren't a huge fan of dubstep or trap, I would still recommend checking him out. Being one of my favorite artists and a dubstep/trap oriented one at that, I will be attending Nightmare's set for sure. Nicky Romero is a Dutch DJ and producer whose popular discography spans all sorts of house, with a focus in progressive tech and big room house. He's been putting on EDM shows for nearly 15 years, and while there are countless hits worth mentioning, just a few are I Could Be the One and Toulouse. Chances are, if you're a fan of EDM, then you're aware of Nicky Romero, but if you happen to live under a rock, then you're going to enjoy his set if you like artists such as David Guetta, Calvin Harris, and Avicii. If you're into progressive house or any sort of traditional plur EDM, then you're going to want to be at Nicky Romero's set. Nitty Gritty is a Miami-based DJ and producer who's known for his big room / electro house style with hip-hop and trap influences. Some of his hits include Hey Motherfucker and his infectious collab with Megan Thee Stallion, Bad Bitches. A bit of an established DJ on the come up, he will probably put on a unique, diverse set with a focus on big room house. Nitty Gritty is high up there on my list of acts to see, so I will be shuffling to his set provided he doesn't play at the same time as my top 3. Noise Suppressor is a leader in the realm of hardcore techno, featuring a style that incorporates hardstyle and gabber. Some of his hits include Street Game and Slam. Noise Suppressor is one of the heaviest hardstyle artists playing Friday, and the only artist I researched that leans into the gabber. There might be one more. Hardstyle and hardcore fans are not going to want to miss his set. Everyone else might find it a bit too jarring. Noizu is an LA-based producer and DJ who is a rising star in the house scene. His debut with Chris Lake and Skrillex on Housela in 2017 set him on the path for the stardom he now enjoys. His notoriously catchy hit singles Summer 91 and Baby Baby are tracks to check out if you haven't heard of them before. Noizu is another name of A-list house artist playing Friday to keep an eye out for. I'm expecting him to put on a groovy, euphoric show and plan to make it out. Omnom is a house producer and DJ dubbed the artist with the delicious sound. I would pin down Omnom most closely to being a tech house producer. Some of his hits include For Free and No I'm Bad. I've seen Omnom before a couple years ago at the Good Room in Brooklyn, so I can personally attest to his prowess behind the deck. House enthusiasts, keep an eye out for his set time. I'm not sure if I'll be making it to his set because I'm not a huge fan of tech house and I've already seen him. I would rather check out another artist I've never seen before. Paul Oakenfold, hailed the godfather of electronic music, is a trance producer playing Friday with perhaps the most experience under his belt as a DJ. His career spans back to the early 80s, making him literally one of the pioneers of electronic music, and some of his hits include Starry-Eyed Surprise and Ready Steady Go. Historians and trance fans alike have every reason to make Paul Oakenfold a priority act to see. His lengthy experience producing and DJing guarantees an amazing euphoric set. Paul van Dyk is a German DJ, producer, and musician with 3 decades of experience in trance, maintaining his spot as a prolific DJ. He has countless hits in the realm of trance, but some worth mentioning are Foreign Angel and Nothing But You. It goes without saying that Paul van Dyk is the act to get excited for trance and progressive house fans. While I'm sure his set will be good, I think his sound might be a bit too mellow for my taste. Peekaboo is an American dubstep producer, an emerging star in the wub scene that I'm very excited to see. Their hits include Illusion and Here With Me, and they have been collabing with many renowned names in the bass scene. For instance, they're playing a back-to-back with Jauz at some other time on Friday. Peekaboo is at the top of my list of must-see acts because dubstep is my favorite genre. If you like dubstep, then I hope to see you at Peekaboo. Otherwise, their music is a bit jarring, definitely heavy, so I would suggest checking them out if you're dubstep inclined or curious, but there are other acts to see. Fatums is another rising star LA-based production duo known for breaking the boundaries of genre. I would peg their sound to be closest to electropop, but they are a genreless act. Their hit songs include Say It and Just a Feeling, but since coming onto the scene have put out consistently catchy and elegant tracks. If you're into electropop, house, or indie-infused electronic, then I would take note of when they're playing. As I've mentioned many times before, I prefer bass/trap artists, so unless Fatums is playing at a time with no set conflicts, chances are I won't be checking them out. However, listening to their music on Spotify really impressed me, and I will be trying to catch one of their shows in the future. Ran D is a world-renowned Dutch DJ and producer who probably tops the list of hardstyle artists playing Friday. Even if you aren't a fan of hardstyle, you might have heard his hit cover of the Cranberries' Zombie. And if you are a fan of hardstyle, you've definitely heard his other hits such as Hurricane and Run from Reality. With a career spanning nearly 2 decades, his set will inevitably be jaw-dropping and a must-see if you are a fan of hardstyle. Seeing as he's the biggest hardstyle name, I probably won't be at his set because he'll likely be playing at the same time as other headliners I want to see. Reality Test is a Berlin-based Israeli trance producer and DJ. Her prolific discography is one that caught my ear and would highly recommend to anyone. With a trippy sound supported by orchestral instrumentation, some of her hits worth checking out are Karma and Casablanca. Despite there being so many amazing trance artists playing at EDC on Friday, her sound really stood out to me. I think she easily makes the list of underrated artists playing on this day, despite being quite established in the trance scene. I would consider her a must-see for the trance enthusiast, and if there's any trance act that I would choose to see, it might be her. Said the Sky is an American EDM producer, DJ, and musician known for a diverse and catchy discography spanning everything from trap and dubstep to tropical house and bass. Known for being closely linked to Millennium, he's also produced hits such as his collab with 7 Lions, Rush Over Me, and All I Got. Tropical house and future bass fans delight. This is your premium set. Said the Sky is not only an incredibly talented musician that feeds into his production style, but he also puts on a show that is completely euphoric. Said the Sky tops my list of acts to see, and I will almost definitely be at his set. 7 Lions is an American DJ producer and instrumentalist known for aptly combining diverse styles, such as trance, melodic dubstep, D&B, and electro house. One of the biggest stars playing Friday for progressive house, some of his recognizable hits are Need Your Love and Strangers. My impression is that just about anyone would enjoy a 7 Lions set, but his set will be a particular treat to progressive house fans who enjoy a tinge of melodic dubstep. I probably won't be seeing his set because he will be competing with other A-list names, and I bought tickets to see him in December. 7 Lions is probably one of the best overall acts playing on Friday though. Shivers, aka Da Butcher, is a UK dubstep producer and DJ who has already been making strides in the scene despite being relatively new. I first heard his most popular hit, Shell the Place, when browsing the top songs on the dubstep charts a couple months ago, and immediately fell in love. Researching Shivers and finding out he was one of the collaborators for Shell the Place was a welcome sight. He easily makes the list of underrated artists for Friday as far as dubstep goes, but his sound is heavy and I love that. Side Piece is an American house DJ and production duo comprising of established producers Nitty Gritty and Party Favor. They have been absolutely blowing up in this past year. With smash hit Diplo collab On My Mind and their remix of Justin Summit's Deep End, they have inevitably found their way to your ears, if you stay current with house music at all. This dream team duo has put out an incredibly captivating discography to date, and being a fan of both artists individually, I'm definitely going to be checking out their set, and recommend that you do as well. Sida Abellan is a Spanish techno DJ, model, designer, and stylist. She doesn't produce any music as far as I could figure out, but she's clearly made a name for herself as an iconic DJ with an eye-catching sense of style. If she's performing at a time that doesn't create any conflicts, I'll definitely be checking out her set. Techno lovers should absolutely jot her name down. Solardo and Vintage Culture are doing a back-to-back set. Both are prolific house producers with numerous hit songs. Vintage Culture is an established Brazilian DJ with hits such as Slow Down and I Will Find, whereas Solardo is a UK production duo experiencing a meteoric rise in part thanks to their hits Move Your Body and Ecstasy. This back-to-back set is guaranteed to be a banger with these two experienced house acts. Definitely a set to keep in your sight regardless of whether house is your preferred form of electronic music. Sullivan King is an American dubstep DJ and heavy metal musician known for his fluid integration of metal into dubstep and virality on TikTok. Some of his hits include Someone Else and his remix of Alone. Sullivan King is a very unique act. Those who are fans of metal are 100% going to want to partake in his dynamic and explosive set. If you aren't a fan of either metal or dubstep, then you could still consider checking him out just for the novelty of his unique genre-bending act. I'm planning to see Sullivan King. Sunny Lax is a Hungarian trance and progressive house producer whose experience playing shows spans 15 years. Some of his hits put out on the trance label Ajuna Deep are Losing It and Solar Plexus. Sunny Lax is a must-see for trance and progressive house fans. Despite being rather established in his scene, I would still consider him one of the underrated artists performing on Friday. If you like Above and Beyond or similar artists, then definitely jot them down. Chami is a French producer and DJ hailing from Paris, who specializes in future and bass house. Chami is one of my favorite artists and is a simply fantastic performer. Some of his hits for the unacquainted are his remix of You Know You Like It and Ado. His set will be a gem for bass house fans like myself, and a really strong act to consider for anyone who enjoys house as a whole. Chami is high on my list of acts to see, so I will definitely be at his set. Test Pilot is the techno-based alias of worldwide renowned producer deadmau5. It took me a bit of research for me to realize that this supposedly small name is actually the Canadian EDM giant. He hasn't released many songs under this pseudonym and apparently uses it primarily for live sets. There is one song on Spotify called Sunspot. I'm not really sure what to expect other than upon listening to the one song that he put out, I definitely got experimental and psytrance vibes. If you are a deadmau5 fan, then you might want to check out Test Pilot, but I think he will be putting on a show that you won't be used to. Given that I don't think I'll have many other opportunities to see deadmau5's alter ego perform live, I'll be making an effort to see this set. The Martinez brothers are an American house DJ and production duo hailing from the Bronx, New York, with considerable experience under their belt from long-term residencies at clubs in Ibiza. A couple of their hits are Let It Go and Pendiente El Paso. Their style is diverse, but they seem to lean into tech house and techno. If you're looking to see an act with Ibiza vibes, then the Martinez brothers are for you. The Prophet is an Israeli-Dutch hardstyle and hardcore techno DJ/producer who has been hitting the circuit since 1983. He is a gigantic name in hardstyle, and some of his hits to check out are Wanna Play and Listen to Your Heart. With what is closing in on half a century of experience DJing and pioneering the genre of hardcore, in part through the founding of one of its largest record labels, Scantraxx, his set is undeniably going to be excellent and hard-hitting. As is the case with hardstyle, if it's your favorite genre, then The Prophet is going to be your headliner. But if you're not a fan of that style of music, then there are probably going to be other acts to see at the same time. Tsurura is an American producer and DJ whose experimental discography touches all sounds from bass to trap, alongside heavy hip-hop influences. This is an artist that immediately caught my ear, with his popular hits being Q Edits No. 2 and Fubar. He is an act that I'm super stoked to see after listening to his music. I have high hopes for a bass and trap heavy set that leans into hip-hop elements. He definitely makes my list of underrated artists playing Friday, and I'll 100% be there. Tweeka Core is the soul and much welcome happy hardcore act playing at EDC Las Vegas on Friday. Some of their popular hits are Crash and Burn and Shady People. Happy hardcore is a very niche subgenre of hardcore identifiable by its high BPM and high-pitched vocal elements. I'm a pretty big fan of happy hardcore, and if you are, then this is the one act on Friday that will be exclusively playing the genre. So if you're a diehard happy hardcore fan, this is for you. For everyone else, Ty Guys is one of two identifiably gabber/hardstyle acts playing at EDC Las Vegas on Friday. They aren't super well known, so I couldn't dig too much up about them, but some tracks to check out are Guess Who's Back and Blast 'Em. While I'm not the biggest fan of gabber, I would still definitely consider Ty Guys to be one of the underrated artists playing Friday, especially for hardstyle. Vinny Vici is a psytrance/drum and bass production duo with an identifiably unique sound that blends the two genres together. Their hits include collab with Armin van Buuren, Great Spirit, and their collab with Dimitri Vegas and Like Mike, Get in Trouble, So What. Vinny Vici's experimental and genre-bending sound creates a space for drum and bass and trance fans to meet. This is an act to see if you're a fan of either, but especially if you like both. After scanning the headliner list, they are also playing on Saturday, so if you don't catch them on Friday, you can always check them out the next day. Wookie is an American dubstep and trap producer, closely associated with Mad Decent and Alsla. He brings to the table a lot to appreciate in his music, with hits such as Better and his catchy collab with Smoke Perp, Birds. Wookie is definitely one of the bigger names in dubstep and trap, playing Friday, and an act that I will definitely be attending since I love his music and I've yet to see him live. Fans of hip-hop should consider checking him out given his integration of hip-hop into his production style. Zoo is an American electronic producer and DJ whose unique catchy style has landed him hit single after hit single. Being one of the bigger names on the list, you've probably heard of Zoo, but if not, then I urge you to check him out immediately. He's fantastic, he's amazing. A couple of his most popular songs are Working For It and Faded. In my opinion, Zoo's production is on a whole nother level. I'm a huge fan of his music, and he tops the list of sets that I'm looking forward to seeing in the realm of house. Even if you aren't necessarily a huge fan of house, Zoo's distinct style differentiates him from the crowd, and I would suggest him to just about anyone. Thank you for watching. As always, make sure to subscribe. Let me know in the comments what you think, the artist you're most excited to see, whether or not you're going, and what artists you think that I got wrong or perhaps misrepresented. I hope that I was able to help with this very long video. This took me a long time to plan out, record, edit, and so forth. The script was about 10,000 words. 78 artists. I'm breaking them down into 80 different shorts and TikToks, so this has been a huge project. I'm not sure if I'll do a lineup review for Saturday, but if I do, I will link it in the description. I'm going to put this one out first and see how it goes and how I feel, because I think that'll determine whether or not I decide to spend 20, 30, 40 hours researching artists, writing a script, storyboarding it, recording, etc., etc. So, if you enjoyed this, I have a bunch of concert vlogs on my channel, and, I'm going to be going to EDC Las Vegas, and so I hope you will check out the videos that I post from there. Until next time, Blade Master Rush, out.